I'm not seeking to be in any way disingenuous, but I do want to thank the Press Club for a genuine inquiry possibility in a neutral situation, engaging experts and participants in a non-partisan, non-political forum. I think this is one of the most important forums in the land. I shall be slightly repetitive perhaps, but in a different context. To explain why I'm here as an educated resident scholar and Christian minister, maybe the best way in which to present my profound misgivings at the ill-conceived, politically motivated legislation. I too am a father with 3 kids. I beat you, mate, I've got 15 grandchildren. But first I come to you as an authentic member of a biker club, and I have to say our brothers have been very warm and open to us, this God Squad, because obviously we're a little bit off kilter in some ways. But we've come to feel a depth of genuine relationship, and I mark some of my best friends in the world as guys wearing a very different set of patches than me. We earn our colours in God Squad. We love motorcycling in the context of club loyalty, camaraderie and the indescribable satisfaction of being on the road, in association with good friends who are loyal to us. I have almost 40 years of club membership experience and have been associated with the scene for over 40 years. Now, while no person knows fully the activities of others in a closed society such as the biker scene, and I don't think we're half as closed as the military, quite frankly, or the police force, however, when I hear from the media that more than half the members of such clubs have criminal records, I know they lie. Our clubs were not formed for the purpose of organised crime. I know that there are many reasons for joining a biker club, almost as many as there are variations of club style. One size simply does not fit all. That crime does occur, of course, is undeniable, but has already been said by the previous 2 speakers. Clergy sometimes commit pedophile acts. Lawyers, politicians, psychiatrists, footballers, youth workers, school teachers outrank bikers for the proven incidents of sexual assaults on citizens. Biker clubs overall no more exist for corporate crime purposes than nightclubs exist for the purpose of distributing ecstasy. Secondly, I come as a human rights activist. I have a Methodist connection to a gospel of justice and care which gave rise to some Methodist preachers called the Tolpuddle Martyrs, led by George Lovelace, famous because under unjust British laws he was sent to Oz for 7 years as a convict because he called workers to use the only power they had against industry, and that was the withdrawal of labour, thus becoming the foundation to what we accept as an intimate part of our social order called the trade union movement. I presented to the UN Human Rights Commission the full hearing on behalf of prisoners of conscience in Nepali prisons. I was involved earlier on in the time of Joh Bjelke-Petersen in non-violent civil disobedience when he took over the Arakoon Aboriginal community. I was jailed in the Philippines for human rights activities because of the illegal demolition of the homes of peasant people by a murdering mayor in Kitapawan, Mindanao, and I chose death before dishonour when execution date was set and freedom was offered by my captors if I would name the local human rights activists who had brought me there on location. I have an enduring memory of experiences all over the world, in Central America during the civil wars there, of seeing the abuse of minority groups by power elites not subject to sufficient restraining laws of human rights protections. What I do know is this: the laws which suspend basic rights to the assumption of innocence until proper trial, the freedom of association and freedom of information not only suspend fundamental social principles, but permit law enforcement to harass the innocent. We have always experienced in God Squad a measure of undue harassment for being patch-wearing bikers by a minority, no doubt, of officers. I was once accused of upsetting the Dandenong Hospital, of terrorising the staff, and a report went through to the police force from a particular officer that hated bikers, and he targeted me. And there was a full file which eventually a policeman brought to our club meeting, risking his job, to say, look, John, your reputation doesn't look good here, what's going on? and I found these extraordinary reports that have been put into the files of the police. In actual fact, while I was supposed to be terrorising the Dandenong Hospital, I was 120 miles away at a youth camp with 5 ministers of religion and 120 other people at the camp. And yet when I asked for that to be removed, the senior officer said, well, that's just your interpretation, that's too bad. These just happen to be our reports. Now, I could give many other examples, but our time is short. Certainly some of our members lately have undergone quite considerable harassment since the changing of the laws and since Queensland has been considering a possibility of going in the same direction. One of our members, who I would describe as a contemplative Catholic and very gentle brother, has been accused of being in possession of weapons of affray because in his car, when the police, without warrant, it did their strip searching and all that other stuff when the brothers met together to try and look at how we could reduce the violence. It's going to cost him thousands of dollars probably to defend himself against absurd accusations. The South Brisbane chapter were breathalyzed recently, were cleared. No one had been over the limit. They were made to stand for half an hour on the side of the road while the cars went by. And some of them were personally mocked by officers belittling the possession of a Bible and being religious. In the days of now abandoned consorting laws in Victoria, young offenders who'd actually been converted to the faith and were exemplary in their behaviour were arrested at the entrance of our church for consorting because they were worshipping together. Is it any wonder some of us take a strong stand against laws that allow the abuse of power once they're in the hands of an elite like the police force? If society wishes to breed a new generation of haters of law and order, then draconian laws and harassment will be an invitation to the children and the spouses of bikers and others to have no respect whatsoever for the police.